Sterling background checks cost me a job. Hi, this is consumer protection attorney Bill Clanton. I've helped hundreds of consumers, regular folks like me and you, deal with bad background checks, inaccurate credit reporting, and debt collection harassment, and lots of other consumer related stuff. In this video, we're talking about Sterling. Sterling back checks, Sterling talent solutions, Sterling background checks. They go by a bunch of different names, or have gone by a bunch of different names in the past. Currently, they call themselves Sterling Back Check. They've been around since 1975. They have been sued hundreds of times for violating the laws that apply to background check companies. But before we get into the law about them, what does Sterling do? Oh, they're based in New York City, New York. And what do? They do background checks for a variety of industries: construction, government, education, retail, basically any and every industry. And the level of background check they do, the depth of background check they do, depends on the employer. Obviously, if you're going to be working out in the field or cooking on a line, they are going to do a criminal history background check, and that's about it. If you're going to be working at a bank, they'll probably do obviously they'll do a criminal history background check. They might do a social media. They might do a credit report. They also have the ability to do driving histories for folks who are looking at a job with Uber or Lyft or Domino's or Papa John's, anybody who's driving. So that's kind of who they are and what they do. Now, the law that applies to Sterling, there's really one law. It might seem like there's more than one, because when Sterling makes a background check about you, they're publishing a statement about you. And you might think there's a defamation case or something like that, but there's really just one law that applies to them, and that is the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Now, it's strange to think of Sterling as being in the same group of companies as TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, or these other big credit reporting agencies. But the law says that any company that produces a report that would influence your ability to get credit or a job or housing is a credit reporting agency, and the publication they make is a credit report. So a background check is actually a form of a credit report. So Sterling is a credit reporting agency that is controlled by the Fair Credit Reporting Act. It's a little unusual to think of that when you first think of it, but it makes sense after you think about it for a bit, and you understand the purpose behind the law. Okay, Sterling, they've got a history of mixing people up. And this is one of the worst problems in the background check industry, and Sterling is no exception to this. What happens is Sterling will pull information for one person named John Smith and get the information for a second John Smith, and then report the negative information for John Smith doesn't belong to the first John Smith. Here are a few examples of this from cases that I looked at online that have been actually filed against Sterling. There's the Glenn Stevens case. Mr. Stevens was denied employment with Lyft due to an inaccurate felony conviction on his Sterling background check. The charge in question had been dismissed, but Sterling reported it as a conviction, not as a dismissal, and he cost him a job with Lyft. Rudy Garcia versus Sterling. Now, this is a real interesting case. Rudy had no criminal history, and somebody had used Rudy Garcia as their alias. They'd given the name Rudy Garcia to the police when they got arrested. Well, it wasn't the Rudy Garcia who applied for the job, but Sterling matched them anyways and said that he had a criminal history, and it cost Rudy his job. This is incredibly common in the background check industry. The third case is Brittany Johnson v. Sterling. Brittany was applying for a job at a call center, and she was required to get a Sterling background check. The background check came back saying she had a criminal history, but it didn't belong to her. It belonged to someone with her maiden name. Brittany wasn't a criminal, and Sterling said she was. It cost Brittany a job. Look, like I said, My research indicates there's hundreds of these cases filed against Sterling, and it happens all the time in the background check industry. If you've been turned down for a job because Sterling messed up your background check, give us a call. I want to put the Fair Credit Reporting Act to use for you and turn the tables on Sterling. Thank you for watching this video. I'd appreciate it if you subscribe to this channel. Thank you.